Imagine you're going through one of those days, or maybe even a season, when everything feels like it's unraveling. Your plans are falling through, and the future looks anything but bright. It's in these moments, when chaos seems to reign, that holding on to faith feels toughest. Yet, it's exactly what we're called to do. Let's talk about how everything you're experiencing might actually be part of a bigger picture, one that you're just seeing a tiny piece of. You know how when you're in the middle of a puzzle, it's hard to see what the final image will be from just one or two pieces. That's a bit like our lives. We see only a small fragment at a time, while God sees the whole completed picture. In the Bible, there's a powerful verse that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29, verse 11. This is a reminder that even when things seem messy, God has a plan for us that is good and filled with hope. You might feel like everything is falling apart, but from God's perspective, everything is falling into place. It's tough to grasp, especially when you're staring down a bunch of problems that don't seem to make any sense. It's natural to wonder if God is really keeping an eye out for us like He promises. Now, consider the chaos you're feeling, where you see a tangle of events and uncertainties. God sees a path leading to a new and better future. Think about how different it would be if you could trust that all this mess is actually a setup for something more beautiful. You may be tempted to pull away from God during these hard times. You might even feel like He's pulled away from you. But doing that is like wandering off when the road gets rough. If anything, tough times are when you should cling to God more than ever. Take a cue from David, the shepherd king of Israel. Even when he was on the run, literally dodging spears thrown by King Saul, he penned the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Psalm 23, verse 1. In the wilderness, threatened and weary, David didn't see scarcity and danger. He saw provision and protection because he trusted God as his shepherd. David's own background as a shepherd taught him about protecting his flock. He had faced lions and bears to defend his sheep. When he stood before Goliath, he wasn't just a young man with a sling. He was a protector, empowered by his faith in God. "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine," 1 Samuel 17, verse 37, David declared. This same God who watched over David watches over you. Jesus said, "I am the good shepherd." The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep, John 10:11. This isn't just about physical protection, but about leading you through life's bewildering and sometimes frightening paths. When you face threats, uncertainties, or the unknown, remember you are not alone. Your shepherd has gone ahead of you. He knows the way and has promised to guide and protect you. Following Christ means trusting Him as your shepherd. It means listening to His voice and following Him, even when the path isn't clear. It means believing that He's leading you to good pastures, even when you're walking through dark valleys. And remember, as a good shepherd ensures his flock has everything they need, food, water, safety, so does the Lord care for His flock. He promises to provide for your needs, to be your peace, and to guide you every step of the way. Trust Him, stick with Him, and watch how He brings everything together for your good. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into what it means when we say God is like a shepherd and we are like His sheep. In Psalm 23, when it says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul." It's painting a picture of complete care and tranquility that God provides for us. It's like saying, no matter what's happening around you, God has a place of rest and refreshment ready for you. You see, those green pastures aren't just random fields. They're the exact spots where you can find rest and nourishment. They're places of peace where you can drink deep without fear. God knows where these places are, and He guides you there not just because He can, but because He knows that's what you need. Then there's Jesus talking about living water in John 4. Imagine you're tired, really tired, and someone offers you a drink that could quench your thirst forever. That's what Jesus offers the Samaritan woman, a kind of water that once you drink it, you won't ever feel empty again. He says, "Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." It's a promise of eternal satisfaction and life. But why do we need this living water? Well, just like our bodies can't go long without water, our souls can't go long without the spiritual refreshment that comes from Jesus. It's essential, even more so than the water we drink daily. And God promises to care for all our needs, which includes providing this living water that refreshes our souls like nothing else can. Now, following God doesn't mean the road will always be easy. In fact, it's often not. He guides us along the right paths for His namesake, as Psalm 23 continues. Sometimes these paths might feel wrong or too difficult. You might even think there's been some mistake, especially when things get tough. Remember what Jesus said in Matthew 7:13, "Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it." It's tempting to choose the easier path, isn't it? But the easier path doesn't lead where you need to go. The narrow road, the tough one, that's the one that leads to life, to eternal peace and joy. It's like when you're hiking up steep trail. Your legs ache, you're out of breath, and every step feels heavier than the last. But you keep going because you know the view at the top, the sense of accomplishment when you reach the summit, is worth every bit of struggle. God knows where He's leading you. Sometimes you might not understand His ways. You might even feel lost, as if you're walking through the darkest valley. But here's the beautiful thing: God is with you. "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me," David writes in Psalm 23. Think of visiting a foreign city without a map or GPS. It's disorienting, right? Now imagine you have a local with you, someone who knows every street and shortcut. That's what it's like to walk through life with God. He knows the path, and He guides you personally, ensuring you're never truly lost. God's rod and staff, tools used by shepherds to guide and protect their sheep, symbolize the security and guidance He offers. No matter how dark the valley, how confusing the streets of life seem, His presence provides a comfort that can't be matched. When it feels like everything is falling apart, remember that you're not alone. God is right beside you, holding your hand, guiding you step by step. With Him, you can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle. David closes Psalm 23 with a powerful note of hope and assurance. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's a lifelong promise. No matter what phase of life you're in, God's love and goodness are a constant pursuit in your life. But to fully experience this, you must dedicate yourself to Him. It's not enough to half-heartedly follow or only turn to Him when you're in need. Full trust, full commitment, that's what God asks for. And when you give that, when you truly follow Him with all your heart, you'll find that His goodness and love will indeed follow you all your life. When things get tough, when the path seems unclear, turn to Psalm 23. Read it, meditate on it. Let it remind you of who God is, your shepherd, your guide, your protector. Trust Him to lead you where you need to go and provide everything you need along the way.